Good afternoon. The topics of today's presentations are the effects of the internet on interpersonal relations and the effects of the technology on our lives. The first part will be presented in English by Aras Kurt and Ela Şayan. And the second part will be presented in German by Mina Özyıkılmaz and Ceren Sedefoğlu. Now I would like to invite Aras and Ela to come up on stage.
Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about the effects of the internet on interpersonal relations. I just want to start off with a simple question. Imagine being away from the internet for a couple of hours or not being able to use your mobile phones. How would you feel? Aras, how would you feel in that situation?
To be honest, I would feel terrible. And I want to ask, how would you feel? Is there any answers for that question? Okay. Any other? Okay.
So if there is anything to keep me busy with, I wouldn't mind one.
Yeah. The internet plays a huge role in our lives, from ordering something to paying our bills.
The internet has such an important role in our lives that it affects the interpersonal relations. It has become a priority in our daily life, and we can say that we're entirely connected. In other words, the internet has turned our lives upside down.
And what does interpersonal relations mean? It is a social connection between two or more people. Interpersonal relationships can include your close friends, co-workers, and many others who make up the social connections in your life.
Here you can see some percentages about American cell phone usage and habits. 74% of Americans feel uneasy leaving their phone at home. 71% of Americans say that they check their phones within the first 10 minutes of waking up. 53% say that they've never gone longer than 24 hours without their cell phone. 47% consider themselves addicted to their phones. 45% say that their phone is their most valuable possession. And the most shocking one is 64% use their phones even on the toilet.
And here you can see another research about what we use our phones for. We use our phones for messaging with friends and family, browsing social media, reading the news, listening to music, and online shopping mostly. But we don't use our phones for sleeping improvement, meditation apps, online dating, producing music, and art, journaling very often. Now we would like to show you a video about our friends' opinions on the use of the internet. Let's watch it.
Can you answer your questions concerning? Sure. Which one do you prefer? Face-to-face communication or texting?
I prefer having face-to-face communication because I think it can make people understand your emotions quite fast.
Thank you. Oh, hi.
Hello.
Can I take a minute of your time? I would like to ask some questions. How useful is the internet?
I think it's very useful for me because I like testing from it.
Can you answer some questions? Which one do you prefer? PC games or mobile games?
I prefer easy games because there are mobile games.
Hello? Is it okay if I ask you some questions about social media?
It's okay.
Which app do you use mostly?
I mostly use YouTube because when I'm tired, I use it.
Thank you.
Give me a second, I'd like to ask you some questions about online gaming.
Of course, shoot at it.
Do you prefer mobile games or computer games?
I'm a fan of both, but computer games are my favorite, especially Valorant and CSGO. I can spend hours playing.
Hi. If you could spare a moment, I would like to ask you some questions about social media usage. Alright. First question, what's the most used app on your phone?
There are few apps that I use, but mostly I use them.
Right. And how many hours do you spend on social media daily?
About 3 or 4 hours.
Hey Matt.
Hi, how are you?
Right, there's this survey I need to complete and I need to ask you some questions about it, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
How many hours do you spend on social media?
I'm not too sure. Between 4 and 6 hours probably.
Right, and what's your thoughts on Instagram?
I'm not a big fan of it. I believe it's a waste of time. People are not completely want to do it.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a good time. How are you? I would like to ask you some questions about internet usage, if that's okay.
Go for it.
How do you think internet usage affects our daily life lately?
To be honest, I just spend a lot of time online, but it does not affect my social life. I use internet to play online games with my friends, so I'm socializing in a way.
So it doesn't prevent you from having your daily needs?
No, I don't think so. I do my sports, I spend a lot of time with my family. I'm good.
Right, thank you.
Welcome.
How many hours do you spend on social media?
Actually, it changes every day. Some days I spend like an hour, but some days I never do that.
Hello, Arda, can I ask you a question? How many hours do you spend on social media? Do you stalk people on social media?
No, it's not my thing.
Social media use mostly.
Well, I mostly use Instagram for surfing the internet, but I usually chat with my friends on Snapchat.
Now we want to talk about a survey that we conducted from our class at our school. We interviewed 197 students, and here are the question and some results. First, which social media app do you use mostly? Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. 152 of the students said Instagram.
How long do you use your mobile phone a day? Less than 3 hours, between 3 and 5 hours, more than 5 hours? Nearly the half of the students said between 3 and 5 hours.
Which one do you prefer, mobile games and computer games? 53% of the students said computer games.
How many hours do you spend on social media? Less than 3 hours, between 3 and 5 hours, more than 5 hours. Most of the students said less than 3 hours, and between 3 and 5 hours is only that.
Which one do you prefer while communicating with your friends and family, texting or calling? 60% of the students said texting.
Do you stalk people on social media? 125 students said, yes, I stalk people on social media.
Do you have the habit of using your devices before going to sleep? Yes or no? 80% of the students said yes.
Which one do you prefer in your daily life? Face-to-face communication or online communication? Most of the students said face-to-face communication is better.
What do you think about comments on your social media accounts? Do you ignore them or do you always think about them? 109 of the students said that they ignore them.
And the last question is, how useful is social media for learning? Very useful, somewhat useful, or not useful? 57% of the students said somewhat useful.
On the one hand, we can contact people across the ocean at a click of a mouse. We can communicate kind thoughts at 2 in the morning and not wake up our friends.
On the other hand, the internet causes social and psychological problems. Several psychologists have claimed to treat people with internet addiction.
Let's discuss the questions below. Do people have more or fewer relationships? Do people have more or less contact with friends and relatives? Does the internet take away from people's in-person contacts or add to them? Now we're going to focus on the positive and negative impacts of the internet on our interpersonal relationships. First, let's start with the positives. The internet maintains existing ties. The internet helps us get closer with our family and friends, especially our loved ones who live in different cities and different countries. We have the chance to see them and communicate with them anytime, anywhere.
To develop new ties, it helps us to make new relations and friends. The internet gives us the chance to make new relations with people we don't know in person, and develop our interpersonal online and offline relations.
Speedy communication. Writing a tweet takes 20 seconds, texting 10 seconds, and email is similar. However, if you make a phone call, you can't just say whatever you want and hang up because doing so is rude.
Social media fosters empathy. We are sharing our lives, ups and downs, turns and twists with people we think will care. They will listen to what you say and help you deal with any problems you may be facing.
Social media helps news travel faster. You can share information with someone the moment you come across it yourself, and you can do it whenever or wherever you have access to the internet. And unlike a phone call, you can access more than many people at the same time.
To help people who have limited social interaction. People who have limited social interaction because of their disabilities now have the option to be part of the online communities. They can forget about physical boundaries inside a video game universe. Even anxious people can gain confidence.
To develop language skills. It can help us develop our communicative and language skills thanks to online education. Learning a new language has become a lot easier because now we have the chance to practice the target language.
The internet also reduces the time people spend on unsocial activities of watching TV and sleeping. Now we are going to talk about negative impacts. Firstly, it causes loneliness. It noticed that social media has caused a rise in loneliness, especially among elderly people.
Fake news. The internet users are willing to believe everything they read online. According to recent researchers, 36% of online news is fake.
A rise in cyberbullying. Cyberbullying has been a worry for children. It is also becoming a challenge among adults too. A quarter of the adults have experienced cyberbullying.
Online deception. Creating a fake online identity causing insulting, abusing, and manipulating actions. It has become a common activity, especially on social media.
Depression and anxiety. Spending too much time on social media affects your mood and behavior. Social media lets you to see selected best parts of anyone else's life. Then you compare this with the negative in your own life, and it causes anxiety and unhappiness.
FOMO, fear of missing out. It's a form of anxiety that you get when you are scared of missing out a positive experience that someone else is having.
More time online, less time offline. We get less human contact which reduces the interaction with real people.
A study conducted in China found that about 70% of the 1,033 participants spent more time looking at screens after the COVID-19 outbreak. Another study examining the effects of COVID-19 on adolescents and teens found that the average screen time has increased from 3.5 hours to 5.1 hours.
And we have a question for you. How many times do you reach out for your phone a day? Do you have an answer? 90? And do you have any from students? If you don't, I want to ask Mr. Aytar.
More than 300 times, I guess.
Hocam.
It's not that much, like mine was like 50 or 60.
Actually, the best answer was Mr. Aytar's answer, 344 times per day. And we're doing this unintentionally. Now we will watch another video about internet.
The developing world is going to leapfrog every other digital technology, and we're all going to meet in the palm of a hand.
Young people who are coming of age today, all they want to do is be connected, being connected to information and the connection to people. And that constant sense of connection is both empowering and utterly confusing.
Generation K is living in anxiety, but on the other hand, shows a lot of compassion.
But people mistake compassion with empathy. We are creatures that are meant to talk and are meant to develop empathy with each other when we do. College students show a 40% decline in every way we know how to measure empathy in the past 20 years. There's nothing wrong with our devices, but the way we're using them is hurting empathy, intimacy, and in the workplace, significant collaboration and creativity. I think more and more companies are realizing that they're paying a price for the empathy gap.
we are ready to witness the rebirth of the physical world. People are going to start thinking about, do I really want to sit here behind a computer screen making friends, or do I want to make some real friends?
The human strikes back to say, actually, I don't need 600 friends, 6 good friends is fine.
The trick here is to step back, to recognize that we're not in a virtuous circle, we're in a vicious circle, and to design for our vulnerability to this technology. We can create these places for conversation in business. We can create work cultures where it's not going to be rewarded to sit in your office and be the pilot in the cockpit.
One of the concerns with social media is the sheer disposability of human experience. Something happens, it's gone in an instant. Humanity will probably start hungering for a degree of permanence, a degree of something that lasts a little bit longer. And I think humanity fundamentally is a lot stronger than digital media.
The use of the internet. Track your screen time, turn off your notifications, put away the triggering devices near you, and spend your time more wisely.
Don't eat in front of a screen, establish tech-free zones, remove unnecessary apps, and schedule more face-to-face meetings. Finally, screens are completely awful. If it is used correctly, they can contribute more to our efficiency. The key is not to let them get the best of us.
The internet or social media is neither good or evil. Understanding screen time and its effects on our work can take us a step closer to digital well-being. One way to use the internet better is to reduce the time we spend on our devices.
Thank you all for listening. If you have any questions, you can...
In the video that was shown a little bit before, a way of solving technology addiction was provided to by a solution of redesigning the workspaces and offices. And I have done some research myself, and in a lot of independent researches, a lot of those redesigns and rearrangements of offices to be more interaction friendly decrease the work done in the week. So how would you combat that? I want to ask that.
I believe having a space to have free time and work done separate from the computers and like the devices you use can impact how much you use the devices. So if you have them in a different space, I think you would use them less because people are kind of lazy to go and use them all the time. So I don't think they would go and use them as much.
They would not get the same amount of work done by the end of the week. I was asking how would you combat that and rearrange the things so you get the same amount of work done at the end of the week?
We can answer it later. If you want, we can talk about it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you again. Now please welcome onto the stage Mina and Ceren.
Hallo Leute, willkommen zu unserer Technologie-Präsentation. Ich bin Mina Özyıkılmaz von 9A.
Ich bin Ceren Sedefoğlu von 9FLA. Heute werden wir über Technologie sprechen. Wir sprechen nur Deutsch, hör bitte gut zu. Und jetzt, wir beginnen mit: Was ist Technologie? Technologie ist die Zukunft. Wir lernen jeden Tag neue Informationen. Heute sind wir in Mars und morgen vielleicht in Saturn.
Und was macht die Technologie? Technologie gibt Informationen und hilft uns, zum Beispiel im Krankenhaus, Uhr, Kamera, Waschmaschine, Wetter oder Statistik.
Wo ist die Technologie? Überall haben wir die Technologie. Zum Beispiel zu Hause, im Büro, in der Fabrik, in der Industrie und in der Wissenschaft.
In der Vergangenheit, bevor Technologie war das Leben nicht leicht, aber jetzt leben wir in der Technologie.
Aber wir haben eine Frage. Ist Technologie gefährlich? Technologie hat viele Vorteile und Nachteile. Zu viel Technologie führt zu Technologiesucht und das wirkt uns negativ.
Was ist Technologiesucht? Wie und wann werden wir technologiesüchtig? Wir haben 3 Schritte. Erster Schritt ist Technologie kennenlernen. Zweiter Schritt ist viel Zeit mit Technologie verbringen. Und dritter Schritt ist technologiesüchtig.
Wir haben Technologiesucht gelernt, aber sind wir also technologiesüchtig? Wir haben eine Umfrage. Es hat 4 Fragen. Und erste Frage kommt.
Erste Frage, wie bist du zu Hause? Bist du Foto 1 oder Foto 2? Wer ist Foto 1? Hand hoch.
Wer ist Foto 1? Hand hoch.
Und wer ist Foto 2? Hand wieder hoch.
Zweite Frage. Hallo. Zweite Frage. Bist du traurig ohne Telefon? Ja oder nein? Wer sagt ja? Habe nicht Telefon. Sehr gut. Wer sagt nein? Okay.
Dritte Frage. Was findest du besser? Foto 1 oder Foto 2? Wer ist Foto 1? Hand hoch.
Wow.
Wer ist Foto 2? Hand wieder hoch.
Vierte Frage. Haben Sie Schmerzen, wenn Sie viel mit Telefon und Computer spielen? Zum Beispiel Halsschmerzen oder Kopfschmerzen? Ja oder nein? Wer sagt ja? Okay. Wer sagt nein? Sehr gut. Danke für deine Antwort.
Technologie hat Vorteile und Nachteile und jetzt sehen wir Vorteile. Im medizinischen Bereich 1. Behandelt mehr Kranke, 2. Rettet viele Leben und 3. Kämpft mit Viren und Bakterien.
Dank der Technologie werden Heilmittel für Krankheiten gefunden, zum Beispiel Grippe, Pest und Cholera. Und ich habe eine Frage. Wie heißen die Personen? Kennt ihr sie? Habt ihr eine Idee? Natürlich, sehr gut. Das sind Özel und Urschari. Sie fanden den Covid-Impfstoff. Sie retten viele Leben.
Und diese technologische Geräte im Krankenhaus, zum Beispiel MR, Röntgengerät und Ultraschall.
Technologie in der Bildung, wie ihr seht, Technologie in der Vergangenheit war nie gut für die Schule. Hier auf dem Foto.
Bildung war gemacht mit Technologie, jetzt lernen wir mit Smartboards besser.
Wir können Sprachen lernen mit Technologie, zum Beispiel Duolingo oder Quizlet.
Und ich nutze Duolingo persönlich, es gibt viele Kurse und Geschichten.
Wir können auch Coden lernen, zum Beispiel Life of Luba oder die Coding Chain und andere.
Technologie kann uns auf viele Arten führen. Sie hilft uns sehr, wenn sie richtig genutzt wird.
Und jetzt Nachteile. Psychische Störung. Computer, Tablets, Telefons wirken sich sehr negativ auf uns aus. Zum Beispiel Ablenkbarkeit und Misserfolg im Unterricht.
Mobbing in Technologie. Technologie-Mobbing ist keine körperliche Gewalt, aber es ist eine psychologische Gewalt.
Wir haben ein Video über Cybermobbing.
Dank Internet haben wir heute einfachen Zugang zu Informationen, können Inhalte teilen und mit dem Rest der Welt kommunizieren. Allerdings wird das Internet auch dazu missbraucht, andere Menschen anzugreifen, zu beleidigen, zu demütigen, zu belästigen und zu verfolgen. Online-Mobbing oder Cybermobbing ist in jeder Hinsicht psychische Gewalt und sie hat negative Auswirkungen auf die Opfer. Folgen können sein Angstzustände, Schlaflosigkeit, Magenprobleme, Kopfschmerzen, Isolation und in ernsthaften Fällen sogar Suizid. Alle Cybermobbing-Aktionen zielen darauf ab, eine Person absichtlich zu verletzen. Im Vergleich zum Mobbing gibt es erhebliche Unterschiede. Es können Jugendliche und Erwachsene auf der ganzen Welt daran beteiligt sein. Auch solche, die sich nicht persönlich und außerhalb des Netzes kennen. Wer Cybermobbing betreibt, kann anonym bleiben und sogar Sympathisanten oder virtuelle Freunde zur Teilnahme an Aktionen auffordern. Die Unsichtbarkeit treibt einige dazu, online auch das zu wagen, wozu sie im täglichen Leben nicht den Mut hätten. Jeder kann Cybermobbing ausüben, selbst wenn er im realen Leben ein Opfer von Mobbing ist. In diesem Fall kann Cybermobbing eine Strategie sein, den Schmerz eines Offline-Opfers zu überwinden, Rache auszuüben, aber auch angstlos zu werden oder Mut zu beweisen. Cybermobbing kennt keine räumlichen und zeitlichen Grenzen und kann rund um die Uhr stattfinden. Cybermobbing-Material kann zudem überall verbreitet werden und erreicht in kürzester Zeit eine große Anzahl von Menschen.
Sozialmedien führen zur Wahrnehmung von Schönheit. Somit Leute sie selbst nicht zu mögen. Also,
Menschen werden depressiv.
Leute mögen ihre Augen nicht.
Menschen mögen ihren Job nicht.
Die Menschen beginnen sich füreinander zu schämen.
Die Leute beginnen sich mit ihrem Körper unwohl zu fühlen.
Die Leute beginnen ihre Nase nicht zu mögen.
Die Leute beginnen ihre Lippen schlecht zu sehen.
Die Leute haben Angst.
Und deswegen wird ein Video und das Twitter erklärt, dass Sozialmedia nicht frei ist. Und das war unsere Technologiepräsentation.
Danke fürs Zuhören. Und wir müssen vergessen nicht, Technologie ist Ihr bester Freund, wenn Sie lernen wollen. Danke.
Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.